Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Oh, well, I guess
Oh,
Marcus is
oh,
not able to use his microphone right now, so it's up
so
to us, me and Bonsai, to kick this show off.
Okay, and I'm gonna kick them right the heck out of here. Because hello and welcome to Gen Con TV. You are watching TableTakes, and we are going to break down the hottest, latest, and coolest bits of tabletop news. I am joined by two of my favorite people on the face of the earth. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm the goiter that could change it all for good. Javion.
hey, everybody. I'm Bonsai. I'm loud.
And yeah, that's the great thing. Actually, all of us are loud, but Bonsai does take it a notch above us every
I have to
single
lower my
time.
mic every time. It's like, yes, lower your mic. Push your mic away, Bonsai.
So I want to, before we hop into the cool news that we have for you today, I want to talk about Bonsai. What have you been up to? Anything interesting? Anything new coming in the mail? Any kind of, business?
Yes, well, I stuffed myself with two different types of Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving and Thanksgiving. Javion was able to join me for one, and I made
So
sure
much
he
fun.
got a plate home of food.
So
when
much
he left.
lechon.
Love so much lechon. It's so good. We do like island style food here. But
Oh.
also I got this little buddy in the mail.
Oh, yay.
What
I
is
named
this?
him. It's an owl bear. It was a Kickstarter that Baby Beastries on Kickstarter I did a while ago, and they did show their stuff at Gen Con, by the way. They were showing off the product like, hey, if you Kickstarted this is what you're getting. But they didn't have any for sale, and I was like, okay, I see how it is. You're just showing people.
Wait, is that the same one that everyone was freaking out about at Gen Con last year? Like,
Yeah,
I remember, like, people were
this
walking
year,
in and
this
out
year.
of
This
last
was
year?
this.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that's right. 2022 is still this year, isn't it?
This year. But yes, this is the one that everyone was freaking out about. I got the accessories. I got a little magnetic salmon. It's got a little bow tie and a little fancy cape. And I've named him Owlbert.
Owlbert is an
Albert.
excellent name for an owlbear.
Yes. So that's what his name is. And so he's so soft and so cuddly. And now I also wish I got the snow version of this.
There's a snow.
but
is it just like a white, snowy kind of snow bear? I guess
It's
different types
it's
of
like a
owls.
different because this one's the red owl bear, and then they have the snow one that's like a snow owl. So it's more blue and white and has different accessories. But it's so cute and so soft, and I'm so happy. And I'm so glad that they were able to fund their Kickstarter and get everything out already. Yes.
It's fantastic.
That's awesome, Bonsai. Thanks for sharing. Javion, do you have any fluffy, fuzzy, cute things that you could show at the screen right now, or no?
No, I've got some
Keep
socks
looking.
that I should probably have thrown in the laundry. How about that?
That counts. We here at Gen Con TV will accept that sacrifice. Thank you, Javion. What have you been up to this week?
I've been so busy. I've been working pretty much every day this week. But one thing that's helped me get through it is, I don't know if y'all are on Spotify, but Spotify Wrapped 2022 is here. Basically, it just tells you all your favorite songs and artists from the year, all the songs that you played on repeat, stuff like that. Apparently, my top 3 favorites, and I'm not surprised, this year are Kendrick Lamar, obviously.
Yeah.
Bo Burnham, surprisingly. I just listened to a lot of the Inside soundtrack and the outtakes of the songs that he didn't put in the movie. So if you guys didn't listen to those songs, there's some really good ones like The Future, 1985, and Microwave Popcorn. They're just so funny. And they're just fun to listen to. And the third was Two Door Cinema Club. So if you didn't know what Two Door Cinema Club is, now you have some new music homework to go look at.
Two Door Cinema Club. That sounds very familiar to me.
They made a lot of really popular songs. You probably heard them doing one of the songs that's like, "No one can talk, no one can talk."
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
yeah,
no,
that
absolutely.
song plays like all the time, right? And then also I was gonna say the same thing, Bonsai, that I got to play board games and eat lots of food at Bonsai's house with all the dogs. Oh my god!
we had fights. We had fights going on.
Dogs were
cracking fights. There were cracking fights, and I got murdered in both scenarios, and I'm so mad.
Wait, you got murdered
innocent the whole time. Innocent both times.
Yeah, you did. You did get murdered.
What were you playing?
Both times.
What were you playing?
We were playing Feed the Kraken.
Feed the Kraken. Okay, I know. Yeah.
It's a game for those who don't know at home, because we are doing a show. It's a game where you are sailors traveling across the sea to try to get the king's ship back home. However, there are pirates who are trying to steal the ship and all its loot and goodies. So there's like a secret Hitler style gameplay where you don't know who's who, except the pirates are trying to sabotage everybody. Meanwhile, there's a cult leader who just wants to feed the ship to the Kraken or themselves and sacrifice themselves to complete a ritual.
There's
and then convert everybody
in this game?
into their cult, so that you can like recruit new members in. So now you're switch teams, and but every time you go over to the Kraken space, you have to throw somebody overboard to satisfy the Kraken, so you keep moving. And for some reason, and I never chose this, I specifically asked for them to throw me overboard, but they chose Bonsai both times.
Both times. Both times, because they thought I was a pirate. And also one thought I was a cultist. And I was like, don't throw me up if you think I'm a cultist. I was like, I'm telling the truth. I just had bad cards. And they're like, Bonsai's suspicious. Bonsai's suspicious. Kill her. I'm like,
I do have to agree. In chat, someone says, well, if anyone was a cult leader, it would be Bonsai. And I do, like, it's the mix of your absolute commitment to things. You will hard commit to things. And then, you know, you're kind of like, I don't know, I just, when I first met you, you're like a rubber bouncy ball. So it's like, imagine a rubber bouncy ball with a cult and then Bonsai's brain. You would be the leader of that cult. That's you.
That would get a good tax break, you know.
I'm sorry you got thrown overboard so often. That's a rough way to treat your friends, Javion, who invited you.
I didn't do it. I never got the choice. I never got to say no. I don't.
Sure. You were a dirty pirate the first round, anyways. You dirty pirate.
You were. This is, speaking of dirty pirates. What I've been up to this week has been. I actually forgot to write what I did this week. I've been running around. We've been actually getting ready for Actoroki. We're filming the first ever feature-length film in Actoroki. Everyone's flying into town after today. I'm going to head over there after tonight's show. Going to head over there. We're going to start filming. Very, very excited. Lots of work, lots of stress, lots of just pure joy. So I'm really, really happy. Also, I'm still feuding with the cat that's hanging out on my balcony. It keeps stealing my food.
Noodle my food. Cat.
That's just your cat. It's Noodle.
Well, here's the thing. Noodle Cat is now ripping up my plants.
Oh.
Noodle Cat's coming into the house, stealing my noodles, and ripping up my plants. Now, I wouldn't want to throw that cat overboard if it was a Kraken over there. I would not do that. I would not think it's a traitor or a pirate, but I would want to have a nice, solid talk to this cat. That's all I have today. I have nothing. I have no updates. There's nothing to update on.
You've been very busy.
I've been very, very busy. Speaking of very busy, Bonsai, I hear there might be some news in Hollywood and maybe beyond.
Oh, yes. I hope you guys are ready, especially those who are, one, into sci-fi, and two, into like board games, because those worlds are going to combine like they always do. But this time, it's going to be a Terraforming Mars. Was basically optioned for a movie and or television series. This is just coming in. Peter White at Deadline just basically announced this along with Linda Kodaga at Gizmodo. Both reported this factor. Terraforming Mars, of course, the popular engine building board game where you have you go to Mars and you are corporations trying to terraform it, either by raising the temperature, raising the oxygen level, and putting oceans and plants into the atmosphere of Mars. Has been optioned for a film by a new production studio called Cobalt Knight. There's not really Cobalt Knight was founded with a special focus on adapting basically video games, board games, manga, comic books, novels, and short stories into TV and movies. There isn't really a lot of details going on at this point, but they're hoping to adapt this into a series that basically highlights themes like class struggle, colonialism, and ecological collapse. And I feel like it's a very exciting thing to kind of but to be fair, this Cobalt Knight isn't really a well-known company. It's still new to the scene, and their focus is mostly let's bring nerd culture stuff into full movie rights, Ready Player One and such, and hopefully do it successful, because we know what happens when we get adaptations. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they miss, but maybe if it's a new company, that's going to be good. What do you guys think, Marcus?
I am curious about this. When I first saw this, I thought of Bonsai immediately because I know of you. I know your fanaticism for Terraforming Mars. I know how much you love it. You've talked about it a lot, and it's made me excited to one day actually sit down and play it again. Now, so this is interesting. I know that there's not a whole lot of. For me, this seems like very hopeful, and I appreciate that. You need more hope in the world. I don't see this as like we were talking about before the show. I don't necessarily see this as a movie, like you were mentioning a TV series that might be stretched out a little bit. That could work pretty well. I don't know. I'm confused of what the plot is going to be of this thing. That's really where I'm at. Javion, how about you?
I knew you liked Terraforming Mars, Bonsai. I didn't know you were a fanatic about it.
Did you not see this special edition? You were at my house. You saw the big box we have.
Yeah, but I didn't realize it was opened. I thought it was still in its plastic wrapping.
Bonsai's producing the film. That's how much Bonsai loves Terraforming Mars. Bonsai's going to play Mars in the movie.
Mars.
Oh. Well, who better to play a big orange planet?
Just because I'm pregnant, how dare you? No, that's great. That's actually a good one. But chat, I know people in chat were like, wasn't Matt Damon in that? That's that was based off of a book, not a board game.
That's called Terraforming the Martian. No, Terraforming the Martian, right?
Yeah, the Martians. Yeah, the Martian. Yeah.
Go ahead,
I hope the process of Terraforming Mars goes much better for them than it has for me in any of my games. I end up conquering as much as I can, and then just doing a whole lot of erupting volcanoes every single time I play, which ends up making the land a lot worse. And I don't know. I don't know if people are going to want to see that.
You're one of those people that nuke the planet if you have the nuke the planet card to raise the temperature, aren't you, Javion? Terrible.
If it helps me win the game, I'm not above causing mass destruction on an uninhabited planet. Yeah,
that's definitely that's Javion's MO there, 100%. Speaking of Javion's MO, there's a little bit of a new game coming out that I think fits what your priorities are. Javion, you want to cover that?
That's very true, Marcus. Thank you so much for passing it over to me. For folks who love board games, there's one thing we share in common. It's our love of organization. I think back to a recent episode of Avenue 5, no spoilers, where a woman named Karen got in trouble, and her excuse for having kept a lot of information from the passengers was she just wanted to organize everyone. And just like her, I have a sickness. I must organize. And what a great game for me to express all of these desires and these urges than a game called My Shelfie. This game was announced along with the game Nemalia by Lucky Duck Games. And this article comes to us from Jeffrey Dom Sanchez of ICV2. My Shelfie is exactly what it sounds like. It's not my selfie, it's my shelfie. It's not about taking pictures of yourself and trying to look beautiful. It's about taking pictures of your wonderful board game collection on your bookshelves. And I don't know if you guys have seen this before. Maybe you're not privy to a lot of the stuff that goes on in my background, but as you can see, now that I've unblurred it, I have one bookcase here, but I actually have two more in my kitchen. You probably can't see it very well. It's hard to see any of the food because I only have board games in there. And I love organizing my board games and making them look nice. I've got a shelf, an entire shelf just of my favorite games. And I got another shelf that's organized by genre. So like party games versus co-op games versus strategy and adventure games and stuff like that. It's super fun to be able to organize a collection. And now there's a board game that allows you to do the same. You're drafting item tiles, and we've played drafting games before. We know how that works. You're choosing a tile, and then somebody else chooses a tile, and you're just choosing tiles, placing them down on your living space, trying to fill up your columns of bookshelves with board games. And you're also trying to do this in a way that helps you earn not only the common goals that everyone can see, but your private goals that nobody else can see. A very familiar concept, but with a very cool twist to it that adds some flavor with some really beautifully designed art. There's a lot of pattern building, set collecting, and it's a game that plays 2 to 4 players in only about 30 minutes, so it's very lightweight.
Ooh.
It looks to be a very fun addition to the collection. Unfortunately, it doesn't have very high reviews on Board Game Geek so far, but it's also a very new game. It just got announced. So I think once people get enough chance to play it or put it on their shelves, I think we'll have some higher opinions of it. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Now, I spoke, Bonsai, about your board game collection just a little bit myself, but how would you describe your organization style when it comes to your board game?
Ooh.
For mine?
Yeah, I mean, I have my own opinions on it, but I'll let you say it.
I put the games that I am most likely to play on the higher shelves, and then the ones that I'm not going to play as much on the lower shelves. And then we also have a whole group of games. We have a grouping of role-playing games, and then also a shelf dedicated to one of my friends who keeps leaving his stuff at my house. And so it's his collection of board games to keep it separate. So he knows that those are his board games. And eventually, he's going to slowly have a toothbrush here too. And he's going to be moving in like, hey, everybody, this is my house now. He knows who he is.
I was so hoping you'd mention that, because when you're borrowing games from somebody, if it's on the shelf, it's in my collection. I'm going to take a picture of it, and I'm going to pretend like it's all mine. But I promise all of the hundreds and hundreds of board games in my collection are all mine. I'm not borrowing any from anybody. Don't worry. What about you, Marcus? Do you have any of a collection of games or books?
Oh,
we're going to see.
No. I have a small board game shelf that I keep my board and card games on. It's not a whole lot. Actually, I might need to get another shelf because I do have too many big size games. Like, I keep finding these games at stores. Like, I found an old murder mystery Star Trek game. Next generation Star Trek game at Goodwill. I keep finding these
murder mystery Star Trek.
Let me pull this up real quick.
I want to see this.
No, this is awesome.
Is it like official?
Yeah. Yes. It's an actual.
Oh,
this is from the I think it was like late night or early 90s, mid 90s, but it's got the full.
No, that looks official.
So
yeah.
I keep finding these games at various Goodwills and places that mostly have the pieces. So one day I'll put these all on a shelf. But yeah, you get to solve a murder mystery on the Enterprise. I really want to do this one.
Oh my gosh. You better invite me, because I really want.
Of course.
I really want to do that.
Why would I not invite two of the most wild and wonderful people to a murder mystery party? Of course, you guys are welcome. Absolutely.
Awesome.
But you know what?
If my shelfie sounds interesting to you and you want to take a look at it, it's going to be shipping out in Q1 of 2023. So make sure you check in with your local game store, and also don't forget to check out Nemalia as well. It's a game where players compete with one another in an attempt to build the best animal sanctuary. And we all know how much we love animals and animal-related games. Haven't you ever wanted to build your own menagerie? Well, now you can. Plays in about 25 to 30 minutes. It's going to retail for about $20, and it'll be coming out around the same time as my shelfie. And just to tack on a little bit extra at the end here, don't forget, the same folks who made these also made Destinies, a narrative exploration competitive story game. It's a board game where you're moving around the board, exploring new tiles, and they've just unveiled their third story expansion, Destiny's Witchwood. It's been very successful so far. It's even got a companion app to help guide you through the story and bring the game to life. Definitely check out some more Lucky Duck games. I highly recommend them.
Thank you, Javion. Appreciate that. In some other news that we've been covering this story about Noble Knight Games United, the Noble Knight Games Union from Wisconsin. This is a little update to the story. Recently, workers alleged that NLRA sent a lawyer to conduct a captive audience meeting among the retailer staff to dissuade support for the union. The staff allegedly pushed back, citing their discomfort with this measure and questioning the lawyer's legal ability to operate within the store since they were not licensed to practice in Wisconsin. Noble Knight Games United, the union of the workers, claims that they were able to secure the voting eligibility for 21 of the 36 disputed workers, while a further 9 individuals, seasoned workers, contractors, and upper management, were mutually agreed as ineligible. Picking away the voting body ahead of the union election is a common union-busting tactic that divides workers and creates time for company to enact its ownership propaganda campaign. Now, this is a very delicate story because this is a lot of people's lives, it's a lot of people's work, and it's also something. Workers' rights is something that is incredibly important in pretty much all fields. So I was reading up on this. We've been reading through this, and as of yesterday, there's an actual really great update to this story. The Noble Knights Games United tweeted out, Noble Knight Games has done what 95% of privately owned companies fail to do. They have voluntarily recognized their workers' union. That is a major victory for video game unions. That's major, or for tabletop unions. This is a huge deal. I'm really, really excited to see where this goes. I hope more things fall in the line of this, because there does need to be a organization of the workers looking out for the workers themselves, because unfortunately a lot of people do not have, the bottom line doesn't tend to factor in human suffering, and that's a problem. That's not a controversial opinion, I don't think. This is really, really good news out of a story that I was getting really, really nervous with the union busting tactics about. But yeah, just checked it up. Follow them at, if you want, at NK Games United on Twitter. Yeah, this is really cool. Do you guys think this is cool? I don't know how to hand that one off. Like, are you guys against this?
I hate it.
No. No.
No, this is awesome.
I feel like it's very much in fashion nowadays to start a union, and I feel like following the trend that other people are setting, more and more people are taking control of the workplace and putting power in the hands of those who are controlling the actual means of production, not those who sit on high and cast down orders to those below them who are making a lot less than they are. So also, I'm very glad that this came to my attention, because I've never heard of Noble Knight Games. I might have seen them in passing, or known of their existence once or twice, but now actually seeing the stuff that they do, I mean, they gotta be happy at the very least that they're getting their name out there, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I'm just excited to see another American company actually unionizing, and getting people rights and like letting people be more comfortable where they're at, especially if they put a lot of work and effort into a company. And just like, like we need, there's a basic level of things that we need that we should offer to people. I think it hopefully sets for the future of maybe balancing out, like somehow maybe companies not getting away with too much of tax breaks that shouldn't be happening and should go back to more community efforts. But maybe that's just me, me and my crazy thinking of letting education be free. Oh gosh, darn it, me.
I think this is it's also, like you were saying too, it's a really good sign to see other non-traditional unions being formed. Is like when you think of like even video games, there's still a lot of video companies are struggling unionization. Like there are all of these jobs, these professions that you wouldn't necessarily think of would have a union with them, but they all require them, because there is, as Javion said, there's a discrepancy between the people who are earning the most from it and the people who are working the most. There's always going to be that little discrepancy. So this is really cool. They are also Noble Knight Games United. I want to give a shout to them, because they are actually fully supportive. They are supporting other unions. They're using their visibility to get other gaming unions raised up, so people can see that this is happening across the board and not just in very small niches. So I love to see that. I love to see other unions supporting each other like that. So I am very excited for that. But speaking of, Marcus, do you have something you want to tell us about Evil Genius unveiling Rambo and the Crow miniatures? Well, yes, I do, Marcus. Thank you so much. So Evil Genius Gaming announced that their line of cinematic adventure RPG setting based on the various movies IPs earlier in 2022, which we actually had Everyday Heroes with most of us played in that game. Noir is a regular over there. Two of the titles lined up were The Crow and Rambo, but now they actually have unveiled the miniatures. I'm going to drop the link in chat right now so you can see it. Basically, if you were wondering what it looked like, it's like, hey, do you like The Crow? What if he was smaller? That's basically it. Do you like Rambo? What if he was smaller? That's basically it. But they look really cool. High detail. I would say check them out. This is awesome. I wanted to shout this out because this is a weird subject that I'm just going to pass to everyone. This was a weird game that we kind of watched explode. We were like, Noir was working with it and talking about it a little bit, and then it was like, oh, the IPs, oh, the just kept snowballing, and I love to see the Everyday Heroes ball roll down the hill and get bigger and bigger until it demolishes us all. That's what I'm going to say. That's my official selling point for Everyday Heroes, by the way.
at least for me, everyone wants to replay their movies that they really like, cult classics and everything. This is the first step to I see, you know how like I mentioned before Ready Player One, where you can have simulations of being in your own favorite movie. This is like the first steps. We get the how do you insert people into a movie that they love or into an IP that they love that they can play with and enjoy, and then put it in virtual reality, then hologram on a holodeck.
And
see
then
these
write
things.
a sequel. Then write a sequel to it. Please, if you haven't read Ready Player One, 2, it's the funniest thing I've ever read in my entire life. Please.
The second one, or are you just saying as well?
No, they made the first
I haven't
one.
read the second one.
The second one is hilariously bad. Anyway, please, it is so funny. There are like Sailor Moon quotes. It is so weird. But one of the cool things about Evil Genius, this game, you could actually play like Rambo in The Crow. You could bring Rambo in The Crow, and play, the setting is compatible for all these things. So you could actually, they also, I believe, licensed Pacific Rim. So the Crow could fight the kaijus. That's something that can happen. I don't think it would go well because I'm pretty sure the Crow's powers is like, I can take a couple of bullets and that's it. I like the Crow a lot, but I'm pretty sure he just got shot a couple times and was scary. I haven't seen The Crow in years. Have you guys
I've never seen it.
You've never seen The Crow?
No.
Oh, I had a really weird DVD of that. It said Baby Geniuses on it, and
okay.
it was The Crow. So that was how I watched The Crow.
Is it anything like the drama? I call it drama. The Raven. It's like made like the 60s. It's this old movie where this guy goes, "You have no scruples," since like the report.
No, this is about a guy who gets shot and then becomes the Crow. He becomes
cool.
Like a semi, like a dark avenging superhero force, but not quite. I haven't seen The Crow in forever. But speaking of something
been a while
that I haven't thought about in forever, not since Javion ran the game for us, Dungeon Crawl Classics Adventures? What? What is this?
Yeah. Goodman Games is still pumping out adventures for Dungeon Crawl Classics, the hit RPG for old school style fantasy role playing. For those of you who may not have come across Dungeon Crawl Classics before, it is a hyper deadly module. It's a system designed to have the danger and the high stakes of old school style fantasy role playing games, but it also incorporates very weird dice. Like you maybe have never played with a D10. Sorry, no, hold on. That's very normal. Maybe you've never seen a D3 before. Maybe you've never actually used a D7 or a D3. Yeah, there's weird dice in it. And it's a very interesting, very fun game. And you start every adventure with a level 0 funnel, wherein you play with 4 characters all at once, and then a bunch of them die. Maybe you have to start off with another set of 4 characters, but eventually somebody will survive long enough that you can start your campaign, hopefully. And that's what Goodman Games is revealing on this edition of TableTakes. We have the Dungeon Crawl Classics number 103, Bloom of the Blood Garden. It's a level 0 funnel for the Dungeon Crawl Classics campaigns that you may be running. So it's based off of a manor, an old manor called Cobb Hill. The new owner has gone missing, and now adventurers have to go and find out what happened to them. You are sent into the twisted gardens and the dark spaces that lie underneath the manor. It's specifically designed to be either a one-shot or the beginning of an entire campaign. And it was written by Edgar Johnson and showcases cover artwork by Doug Kovacs. Some really big names here. Also being released is Dungeon Crawl Classics, the holiday module number 11, Tame the Monsters of Midwinter. Or is it? Yeah, Midwinter. I don't know what Midwinter is. I wonder, I know, okay, so the monsters of Midwinter, that implies the existence of early winter and late winter. Are they supposed to be like scarier because it's like the coldest part of winter? Is that what it's supposed to, like? It's like supposed to be implying. Okay,
yeah.
I guess I see it. Sure, there's a giant blue dragon on the cover, and it's very holiday themed. I totally get it. You are going to be in the joyful town of Star Notch in the Shudder Mountains, which is being tormented by, you guessed it, horrors. Lots and lots of terrifying creatures, like a blue ice-breathing dragon. there's a pack of creatures that have struck at the town's heart, and you have to take up the roles of mountain heroes that set off to smite all of the evil beings. But this one is actually designed for level 2 characters, so it's not a funnel like the Bloom adventure is. So lots of great content coming for people like me who love Dungeon Crawl Classics, and lots of things to look forward to coming in retail in March 2023.
Oh, it sounds fun.
You're very welcome. There's something so freeing about knowing that you're going into a gauntlet and you will not come out with all of your lives intact.
Yeah, meat grinders are fun.
Exactly.
I played that before, but you'd have to it'd be like, this is the kind of game I'd want to play for that kind of thing. I hate spending so much time creating a character in like D&D to have a GM who's like, I'm going to kill everyone. So this is one where it's like, oh yeah, death is just a part of this. Absolutely. That's really fun. Speaking of really fun, I have a really fun headline for everyone right now. There are 8 new Warhammer sets coming to pre-order very, very soon. I'm going to break those down for you right now. First off, we have Battle Force Adeptus Mechanicus, Elimination Maniple. Maniple?
Man-nipple?
We can't
Man-nipple.
We can't have that on Twitch.
Nipple.
No man-nipple on Twitch. This feature set Belisarius Call and his horrible guns and killer robots from humanity's past. It comes with 20 miniatures, including the Archmagos Dominus himself. Next up, we have Battle Force Imperial Knights, Chainbreak Lance. The Chainbreak Lance set comes with 4 Armiger classes knights, led by Canis Rex, and the legendary steed manned by Sir Hector. 6 miniatures total. Canis Rex can also be built in any Questorus class knight. Next up, we have Battle Force Thousand Suns, Court of the Crimson King. The Magnus the Red leads 20 rubric Marines and 3 exalted sorcerers in this box set. But don't worry, there's still tons more. Battle Force Death Guard, Council of the Dead Lord. Wow. This box set showcases Mortarion and his army. He is accompanied by 14 Plague Marines. I mean, that's enough. If you have 14 Plague Marines, you don't need much more than that. And 5 Indomitable Light Lord Terminators? That sounds awesome. Next up, we have Battle Force Adepticus Sororitas Sanctorum Guard. Now, the Sanctorum Guard Battle Forces has 23 miniatures, and it's led by Morven Vol, who commands 6 Paragon Warsuits and completed the Celestian Sacrosancts and Battle Sister Squad. Battle Sister Squad, that's great. Battle Force Adepticus Custodius Watchers of the Gate. Now, this is another one. The Golden Armored Battle Force comes with 22 Custodes, which includes Captain General Travan Valoris, 3 versus Praetors on their Dawn Eagle jet bikes, and Legion of Warriors? That's so much. And just with one set, that's just one set. Now we have another one, don't worry. Battle Force Imperial Fists, Bastion Strike Force. Tor Garadon leads this battle force of 15 heavy intercessors, 3 aggressors, and 2 Imperial Fist Upgrade Sprues. That's a Fist Upgrade Sprues. That's something you only get 2 of those in there, so you really appreciate that. Battle Force Raven Guard Raven Strike Battle Force. That's the name that broke me, actually. I'm gonna that's the one that got me here. I'm gonna read this out loud one more time. Battle Force Raven Guard Raven Strike Battle Force is the full title of that one. This 17 miniature box set, Raven Guard Chapter Master Caven Strike, leads a squad of Reavers, a trio of Eliminators, and a Phobos Armored Librarian. That sounds like a quirky show. So this is all going to be coming pre-order very soon. If you want to check that out, I will drop the link in chat now. Otherwise, I read all that. You're welcome.
All these minis and not a single or shameful.
I also apologize. We had a lot of fun here today, but I have to come clean. I know nothing about Warhammer. And that article lost me at man nipple. Just gotta be.
I think it's maniple.
But
Maniple.
This is why we need Derek.
Bring him in as a special Warhammer consultant, I think.
Yes.
But speaking of consulting, I had something better. Speaking of Warhammer, tell us about Hasbro's stock dips, huh? Bonsai?
Oh yes. So if anybody has paid attention, this has been the scuttlebutt for those in tabletop gaming, especially for those in card collecting tabletop gaming. Hasbro's basically was announced on November 14th. Bank of America released a report that Hasbro basically downgraded Hasbro, specifically like Magic the Gathering, a part of Hasbro, to a buy rating to an underperforming rating. So if people don't know, that means that basically they went from a very high tier of in stock market, and then it got shot down. It got punched down at least 3 steps to be a sell, thus triggering a 10% decline in Hasbro stocks on the same day. Though, if you look now, the stocks has climbed back to where it was before. That's still at least a couple of $1 million, just whoop, dip, and then right back up again. This report that they said, the more interesting thing about this report is something that the fans, especially of Magic the Gathering, have been complaining about for a couple of years now, basically about oversaturating the market for different types of Magic the Gathering, special edition card releases. This is a more fans already kind of put it in their own way, but this is very interesting to see something that a community has been talking about put in an actual business sense. So people who are not necessarily part of the fandom can be oh, this is what they're talking about. This is what they've been warning us for years. So the report takes from released a chart from 15. So in 2019, Magic releases about 15 sets in 2019 to an up increase of 39 in 2022. So that is a big number difference, especially for those who are really into the collecting business and want to get each and every individual pack they release. This is it's just an oversaturation of the market. Even though their numbers have been up, that's what they're saying in this thing. Even though their numbers have been up, it's only because they're just demanding too much of their current customer base versus developing new customers in a different area. So it's monetary from the business world. It is monetary gain for now, but not an investment for later on. Because especially those who are diehard collectors that need to get it every year, or those who even compete in the actual circuit of Magic the Gathering, it used to be oh, you have to maybe spend this set amount to get 3 of these official decks to keep on, but now people are seeing if they want to keep it official and tournament wise, you're dropping money for at least 10 different sets depending on what card base you get. This most notably happened Magic the Gathering released their 30th anniversary packet that was about $999, $1,000 rounded up, and they only because of the reaction of everybody from the Bank of America and everything else, they only released that set to be bought for within an hour and then closed sales. A lot of the fan base for that pack of the 30th anniversary, there was already controversy with that because people didn't want them to sell that 30th anniversary pack because they would have included cards that Magic the Gathering said that they would not be reprinting because, Black Lotus and all of these other things. They're not tournament legal. They're just for collectors. But these were cards that they previously said they wouldn't reprint, and they are reprinting just for a 30th anniversary. And they're for real, this time we won't reprint. But it looks like because of that backlash, they only had that sell for an hour, making it more scarce than before. But yes, so as the report notes, Magic has been gathering primarily by extracting more revenue from each player rather than growing its player base. So they already are just tapping out what they have, and it's not working.
I have a question, Bonsai.
Yeah.
So by tapping out the player base and not expanding to its players, I would actually think the opposite of that, because they are opening up a whole different type. They're even having a Transformer set. I know people who would jump into, never play Magic the Gathering, will jump in for Transformers, but that's also, like you said, not a long-term solution maybe.
Yeah, that's not, it's a fast solution, but not one for a dedicated like building up a player base, especially for those who are already in the game and already spend a lot of money just to always get that set. There's always that one person that collects everything.
Yeah, I'm very torn with this headline because for me, this is two things that I hate: manufactured scarcity and two rich companies having a fight publicly. Those are two things that frustrate me when it comes part of Magic's whole format is manufactured scarcity. We're going to make this and we're only going to have it available for an hour. But it also like you said diminishes unless there's a specific marking that says that this card is for the 30th edition print. It doesn't actually reflect. It's not worth the same amount. But there's no differentiation. Anything that I've found on here. So this is a bit. I see why the Magic fans would be a little frustrated with this. Yeah. Javion, you have any thoughts?
Well, I have a very limited experience with Magic the Gathering. Although I have a lot of experience with playing a lot of card games, that is one of the things that I've definitely seen people complaining about, the inundation of all of the different cards and all of the different products coming out all the time. I mean, I guess it makes sense that things would catch up to them. And I guess I kind of sympathize with a lot of people who are complaining as well. When you're this involved, like heavily in a fandom or any hobby that you find to be getting massive, like bigger and bigger as it goes on, I think this is the kind of thing you can expect to come from the company. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I like to make it more of an understanding. I think it's not so much that the quantity, that they're just the variety of packs. You could have as much quantity, just this limited smaller amount. It's like having the argument that's enough cake. I like cake. It's great. I love it. Everyone likes cake. I like to share the cake, but this is too many cake slices. Let me just kind of have a little bit less cake.
Another thing we have to think about is that they don't have another model to follow. They are leading the charge. They're the most successful ones. So we can't learn from mistakes when we have to be the ones making them. You can't learn from other people's mistakes, rather. So I think they're going to keep on experimenting with new things, and they're going to keep on playing with the same stuff that they have been. And I think this is really nothing new for the company. Turning out a bunch of different sets all the time is what kept them fresh and kept players coming back for more. Oh, Marcus. It brings me no joy to bring this headline to all of us today, but I feel it was my duty to do this. Marcus, what do you know about AI?
I know. Was that the one with Robin Williams? No, that was was that Bicentennial Man? No, that was Bicentennial. AI was Haley Joel Osment. So that was a movie initially intended for Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick developed that film, and then it was when he passed away in 1999. Spielberg took over.
Hold on,
the
Marcus.
First ever you asked me what I knew.
I know. I meant. Sorry, I guess that was kind of a broad question. What I was talking about are alternative intelligence systems, not the movie.
Oh, like a neural net processor, a learning computer.
Yep. Ooh. Yes, those. Brace yourselves, everyone. AI is coming to board gaming. That's right. Facebook announced last week that they have created what they are calling a human-level board game AI.
Oh.
This is distressing to me for so many reasons. maybe you have heard of the whistleblower at Google who told everyone about Lambda, another human level AI, probably the first one that has any credible value to it.
Yeah.
And watching that unfold and how companies are trying to use AI as slave labor, like immediately, not even giving it some time to like breathe or
that's what it was
configure this
for.
kind of stuff. No, they that's what they want. They're trying to do it right now. Well, that's what we're getting with board games, according to Facebook, or should I say Meta, as they're trying to rebrand. This AI is called Cicero, or that's how they've named it anyway. They have stated that Cicero is working at a human level capacity at the board game Diplomacy. And what is Diplomacy? Diplomacy is a game of world conquest. Why are you making an AI play a game of conquering the world? What is wrong with you?
Javian, you're kind of forgetting how great Facebook has been historically with data and information. Facebook is one of the safest companies. They didn't have to change their name to Meta for any legal reasons. There was no reason why they wanted to get away from that name. Don't look up court documents. Don't look up anything. Meta is super responsible. The metaverse is going to be huge. And we're all going to be controlled by Cicero, I guess. That's pretty great. This is a
good name.
This is a nightmare idea, though. This is an actual nightmare idea.
Well, I think
it is.
Yeah. Sorry, but it is interesting that they basically told an AI. You know how like before you could kind of tell AI wasn't really good in board games because it thought that humans will always tell the truth. They basically taught an AI that we will lie. Yeah. We will lie to this AI.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
AI-driven cars are going great too. So like, this is all very good. I feel very good about this headline.
It gets worse. So, for folks who think that Diplomacy is kind of like Risk, let me put your fears deeper and deeper into the void. We are talking about a game where not only are you trying to take over the world, but you need other people to help you in order to do that. That means you need to manipulate other people. You need to lie to them and you need to collaborate with them in order to accomplish your goals. First, you have the board state. Everybody goes off and talks to one another and decides what they're going to do and writes it down on a little piece of paper. And then simultaneously, everyone carries out their plans and sees what happens and sees who gets the most points and wins or whatever. But the AI is designed to talk to people. It's designed with a ruthlessness and an optimization of strategy that they have assured us is not at the level that will frustrate or annoy players. Great, thank you. I'm so glad to know that the computer with perfect information and tons of data on how games are played and strategies that work and which ones don't, and full comprehension of the rules is going to be fair. Thank you for letting me know that. I'm very excited for this.
I wish there was we could be coming at this the wrong way. Like we could teach this AI human level board game AI, and then they just buy too many board games. They become a part of Magic the Gathering's growing base.
Oh no!
They get hooked on it. They have to get a shelfie. They have to set up their shelfie. They have to get a human level AI Instagram account where they can post their new games. Like this is all. Maybe it's going to be a happy ending. Maybe it's going to be a happy nuclear winter. So who knows?
All AI is going to be us essentially. They're going to be like, hey, welcome. They'll be attending AI. They have Gen Con in their little scooter boxes. Like, hey.
I like a little segue with the monitor up, just kind of.
Yeah, the segue with the monitor will be like, I was developed to play this game and I love this game. You should buy this game. I buy souvenir. I can imagine that's actually a cool one. I want it just to be AIs are just going to be a bunch of nerds.
This is
really quickly. I just wanted to say thank you really quickly to Luke Plunkett. I don't blame you for writing this article. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. We needed to know. It's not often that we have Kotaku articles on our show, so thank you very much. And for all of you folks watching, please watch the video that is on the link that we have in chat. It is the definition of surreal. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, we just gave you a nice little bit of scary homework to go into. But speaking of homework, this has nothing to do with that. Bonsai, what do you have to tell us?
All right. In really exciting news, Wizards discusses that the early results for their one D&D playtest survey. So if anybody remembers, when D&D 1 was first produced, they had this really massive survey they allowed people to do. It's like a survey that you would have to dedicate at least 30 minutes to do, to kind of go through what they put on one D&D. They had a rating and a score system, so whatever doesn't make the mark just gets ripped out of the one D&D, and then whatever makes a certain, like basically as long as they got 60% or above whatever was discussed, either like anything that goes over 60 is going to stay. Anything under like a certain grade either is going to get like under 60 gets reworked and changed. Surprisingly, this survey saw over 40,000 responses and over 39,000 folks completed it. I'm not going to lie, I tried to do it. It was a very long survey. But just to kind of run over things, in general, most of the new rules saw an 80% positive response or higher. Only 3 rules that basically they introduced in one D&D kind of dropped out and will be reworked because it was under the 60 percentile. If it's under like even 50, they're just like, never mind, we're not. But because it just hit that sweet spot between 50 and 60, they're just going to rework it and then try to make it work. One of the 3 rules were being the new Ardeen race that wasn't really well received because they like basically people didn't feel that it had a clear identity. They're like, what the heck is this? What are their stories? I don't like this. This needs, like, we like the concept. We just don't get why they're different than something else that we already have. And then also Dragon Race, the Dragonborn race will be getting redone due to confusions between various visions of the Dragonborn. So basically too much confusion about Dragonborn. So they're like, all right, let's go ahead. We got to rework that. And then in D20 test rules, formalizing how they were going to make it an official, the house rule of like all 1s are fails, like straight up fails, 20s are automatic success, like super success. That was a rule that wasn't, it was a house rule that wasn't really a rule, but because people are like, how dare you put this down as a rule? We don't like it. We like it as a house rule. Yeah. Okay. So it's that got kicked out. So it's more or less that weird. It's another problem of like, yes, we put this as a rule if you want to use it, but a lot of people just like, no, if you put it down as a rule, it has to be a rule, and I don't like it. So they're just going to take it out and just redo it as a very generally accepted house rule that everybody has when they play D&D. Okay. But yeah, they also discuss future installments of Unearthed Arcana for D&D 1. Notably, it looks like there'll be special weapon option releases for more of the martial variety. And they're going to be testing the Bastion system, which incorporates bases with non-play character supports and down roll times.
So this is really... Oh, go ahead, Javion.
Sorry, my bad.
No, please. No,
I didn't do the survey, and I really should have, because there's definitely something that I would have suggested to them. I play a lot of different RPGs, and I adapt my D&D games with new rules that I find are better. And one thing that I think Powered by the Apocalypse does better than a lot of RPGs is that it has levels of success, degrees of success, right? And D&D doesn't have any of that stuff. It has success, it has failure. And, I guess sometimes saving throws versus magical effects can have worse effects if you fail by 5 or more, and things like that. But I feel like the system could really benefit from this kind of thing. And I don't think that it would feel too much like copying other systems or anything like that. Because D&D already is the one that is like the gateway to other systems anyway. They shouldn't be afraid to use things that work. So that's my fault. I should have just done the survey. Oh well. I'm glad 40,000 people did. Yeesh.
It was a long survey though. Number. Okay, come on. I tried to do it. It's a long survey.
You have to get to the end of it to survive the survey. This is really interesting, and don't worry, we'll be keeping you up to date of all of the one D&D play tests. Can't wait for D&D 360. That's going to be really good. D&D.
Yeah.
What are the other ones? D&D.
D&D 1S.
D&D 1S. Gosh.
D&D Scorpion.
But
D&D
speaking of D&D, we have a nice little update from Bonsai about some maybe some building.
Yes, some brick building. In fact, Lego ideas. We discussed this about earlier with like a little vagueness that Lego was thinking, hey, you know what? Everybody likes this D&D thing. We're starting to make more medieval sets. Why don't we combine the two? And we'll let the fans vote for a D&D themed Lego set. Right now, the fan voting page is open. They have submitted 5 really neat designs people can vote for, including a monster manual, Xanathar's Beholder, a transforming mimic, basic Tiamat with the dice tower, basically a Lego dice tower with figurines, or Tiamat, if you guys remember, it's a 5-headed dragon. Elemental dragon, and then a really cool looking tower, which I think is gonna win. I'm just like, yeah, this is cool. Oh my god, this is what I want as a set. Tower with a dragon scaling it. It's an active dragon so cool. That is wrapped around a tower attacking things. I am sorry, I'm being biased. I looked at it and I was like, I like that one. So if you're thinking, I'm between the dice tower, because I know that's functionally good, but also giant dragon wrapping around while knights are fighting it.
If you want to see any of these in chat, you click on the link there. There's all the images. You can vote for them as well. That one is probably Bonsai. It was at the very bottom, the dragon one, and I was like, okay, let's see, let's take a look. The Beholder one was cute. I liked that it had the stat there, but no, the real showpiece is that dragon one. That is one of the coolest. They're all good. We all love the Lego sets evenly, right, Javion?
I like the Beholder one.
You like the Beholder?
I like Beholders as a concept more than I do dragons. I just think they're more creative. So I guess I'm biased in that way. That's who I would vote.
It's okay. Again, mimics are my favorite character, creature, or whatever you want to call them in any role-playing game. I think there should be more mimics. I think mimics should be on the side of the road like yard sale signs, trying to get picked up by people. I have so many. Wait till my RPG Mimic World comes out in 5 days.
Oh, really?
No, it absolutely does not. But you know what does end in a few days, Javion? A crowdfunder that you want to bring to our attention.
Absolutely, it does. Folks, I had the privilege and the pleasure of getting a behind-the-scenes look at AEG Games in production games when I was at Gen Con this year. Stuff that hasn't been released to the public, hasn't been announced. And one of those games I can actually finally talk about because there's a Kickstarter for it now. And it's called Shake That City. The team that made this game is absolutely phenomenal. There is a huge cast of people who love tile placement games and interactive little trinkets and toys to add into your games. The price for it has been slashed from $50 all the way down to $30 if you jump on the early bird right now. But if you are skeptical, let me just clue you in on what Shake That City is all about. You're trying to build a city. It's like another city building game you may have played. It's urban. You've got suburban areas. You've got plants for creating energy or using coal energy. You're creating roads and streets and commercial areas as well. Things that we've seen before. However, what's very unique to this game is the style of the gameplay. There's a very cool box that it comes with. It's a module with a bunch of cubes in it, not dice, sorry. But what you do is you set it up. After you open the game, you put it all together. It's like a little cardboard contraption. It might have come from like a Nintendo Labo or something like that. You put all the little cubes in, you shake it up. Shake the city, yeah. And then you push the little button that's on it, and then it poops out a 3x3 grid of cubes. And the way that grid looks is the orientation that it has to stay in when you take a set of cubes out of it. So for instance, I might use the blue cubes in the picture that's displayed on the Kickstarter if you want to take a look. And I'll place my little town things, my little tiles in that configuration, but I can't reduce it by any, and I can't increase it by any tiles. So you really have to think logically about tile placement, spatial awareness. You're collecting bonuses based on things that are in your row or in your column. And I love playing around with this little toy where you can like shake up all the cubes and then make a cool grid that everybody's using at the same time. It's very unique. It's very interesting. And it's coming to us from AEG, who's made solid games. Like maybe you heard, I don't know, Space and other John D. Clare classics. Well, this is by the same publishing company. Definitely check it out. It's still got 13 days to go. See if you like it.
That looks really real. I wasn't what I was expecting from the title, but that game looks really cute and fun to play. Like that looks like a nice little sit down in a bright room and have a good time game.
Absolutely. It's super easy to pick up and learn. So I definitely recommend it for any group.
If you want to check it out, the link is in chat. You can also check it out on Kickstarter until December 15th. Thank you so much, Javion. No one loses their head because this is a very, very terse, very short crowdfunder court. The court is not even in session today. So no one has to suffer. But speaking of not suffering, this is a great transition. Wait for this one, guys. Speaking of not suffering, did you know you could watch Gen Con TV all week long? Well, coming up next, we do not have game night this week. That'll be returning next week. But at 5 p.m. today, we have Sarah's Table, where Sarah Moore is going to be playing a fun game with Damian Vanhee, co-creator of the Crowned RPG. Then this Sunday at 4, we have Dress to Quest. Then, of course, our regular week's content. Board Games with the Brothers Murph, Out of Character with Mark Tassin, a very special episode of Actoroki, Blood on the Clock Tower, Roll with Rem Alternus, and then we will be back here Friday for TableTakes, Game Night, and Sarah's Table. I want to say thank you so much to the lovely people in chat. Thank you so much to the people watching the VOD. And, of course, these lovely folks who are hovering above my head for these incredible, talented, fun, sweet, kind, lovely hosts. Thank you all. You can check all the VODs out on Twitch, on YouTube, anything. Check us out on Twitter. And